No one will come in a stretched t-shirt and dirty Converse, I'm sure. Okay, if you're still not convinced, ladies, I'm gonna ask you a question. Would you like to date a smelly, messy genius with princess hair? I'm pretty sure not. Many times people can overlook physical appearance of others, however, not blind to it. As common sense indicates, women do look at attractiveness as a major factor. And like men, they tend to aim for someone they think is in their same range. You can say teenagers are under pressure to look perfect as a result of flawless celebrities, images and magazines they see. Not at all. They're great in motivation for self-development. For example, my favorite actress is Scarlett Johansson, and I've never been jealous of her. Maybe a little bit. I'm impressed by her talent, and one day I want to achieve such greatness. Other famous people make culture not just because of their talents. The Beatles convinced boys to wear suits and love zebra crossing. David Bowie taught us to put on bright leggings and weather check. The style of the 80s, which is extremely popular nowadays, high-waisted skirts, tops, is brought back by modern singers. The other team stresses a system based on recognition of character and logic. However, this is impossible. The system requires rationality out of everyone, and being irrational is part of our life. Many people can be rational, but not everyone is. Thus, it is irrational to believe in rationality. It's a play of words. Let's not be skeptic. Let's be realistic. Yes, as a result of appearance, humans are rotting away, not thinking of each other, making our lives a stupid, filthy time spent. But we are who we are, with all our drawbacks, and it is normal to try to move on and transform them into our advantages. We are an individualistic society with different talents and opportunities. Without twists and turns, ups and downs, components that make our life amusing, we as human beings are likely to be bored, aren't we? I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to reject this motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, that concludes the first part, the first round. Now we'll have a session of rebuttals. Okay, so if you finish
Christina, it seems like you said that a student can never get into Oxford, Cambridge, or any high-tier or top-tier university without the grades, and that's the most important part. Would you not agree that maybe the interview is of just as much importance? Because if your character is not compatible...
Point of information. Yes. I did not say that was... I expressly did not say that was the only thing that... I expressly said...
Have I said it was the only thing?
Yes, you did. You in fact said...
It seems I have not said that.
Okay.
What you said is that you can never get into Oxford and Cambridge without the grades, and that's more important than the interviews.
I never said that.
Is that the point? Yes.
Point of information. I never said that.
Okay.
Yes.
But the Telegraph has also posted the head of admissions at Oxford to say quite the opposite of what you've been arguing. That students applying to universities should not waste their time on extracurricular activities. What would you have to say?
I would say... Okay. Should I reply to this? Okay.
It's a question.
I would say... So I would say that what they're saying is that, yes, you need the grades. And they're also saying, yes, you need the extracurriculars. Okay, they're saying, do not spend that much time. But they're saying that everyone needs these extracurriculars. It's part of what you do. And of course, you need to have the intelligence, but that is shown by your extracurriculars.
Right. Javier, you talked about John F. Kennedy's looks and how cool he looks, right? It's pretty good, right? But Christina also argued that performance is the most important. So, what do you think gets better results? A good-looking, sexy president, Or a president with better policies?
Why not combine this? Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but then what's
Sorry, have you why? Can you rephrase the question again?
What's better? A better looking president or a president with better policies?
In my speech, I said that John F. Kennedy not only looked good, and he was cool. But the idea is that it's a combined president with the two factors.
All right.
Can you leave this up there?
Oh, right.
Okay.
Alrighty, I'm gonna use a less aggressive approach. So, there's one thing that I think our team has been trying so hard and desperately want to stress, but it seems like the other team does not really get that, is that we are not against all the human basic needs such as hygiene, you shower, you use deodorant, you do your grades, and then you go to school, do not miss class, get into university. We're not against that. We're saying that society is placing too much emphasis on that, and instead should be focusing more on the content of you. For example, I saw you're wearing a beautiful dress, but I know you're more than that, and that's what we're arguing. Everyone should be about looking into who you are and who you want. What is your mind, rather than just your body. And the word "just" here is very important. That's like my loudest volume, so yeah, just. And since we're in a rebuttal, I guess I have to go get your points, which is body odor. Well, the question that both Anna and Tessa raised was, would I date a guy who smells? I thought about it, and I put into a really, really long process, and I figured if I ever want to marry a man that I'm gonna spend 20 freaking years with, I'd rather him to have something right here than here. That's my answer. And I don't mind him being smelly because I can train him. I truly believe that I'm wearing rather fancy dress today, which is not my intention because I don't have any suit on me. And anyway, this dress I bought it from H&M for the price of $20. I presume I can wear this to the gala and no one's gonna judge me. Let's say, Grace, you're not appropriate. You're not wearing an expensive dress, right? So the point of dressing up is not necessarily about how you polish yourself. It's about who you are. If I come to the gala looking like a zombie, but wearing my most expensive dress, and I do not talk to every single one of you, like no words at all, would you think that I'm looking attractive? I mean, I look like a goddess. But then, whatever, this is not what we're arguing. We're not against all human basic needs, like all the philosophers would propose. You need food, you need shelter, you need to shower, and then you talk about here. We're saying that since we have all three about the shower, the shoes, the clothes, and the food, we should maybe focus more on our intelligence and the mind, and the fact that we are free human with free right to pursue our own interests and knowledge. Right? Agree? Cool. Thank you, Grace, for your compliments. You're extremely welcome.
And what I've noticed is that you guys are also looking quite nice tonight. And if I didn't notice the topic, it would
Why
seem...
that information is because society stresses too much on appearance.
And so like...
She was gonna wear
find to wear sneakers.
Importance is indeed. Appearance is indeed important then. And of course, like what we wear influences what happens. And so one thing that I wanted to talk about is when John talked about Obama, he seemed to imply that he was only voted in because he was black. But if he's also a competent president, then what does it matter if he was voted in for his appearance? In fact, isn't this amazing? Doesn't this mean we're moving forward? We're progressing? It's positive. This is a
Point of information. What has Obama done? Could you please tell me a couple examples
okay.
of how Obama has surpassed his
Actually, this
race?
is a point of information, it's more of a question.
All right.
You want to take it or you want to move on?
Actually, I would like to talk about the Nobel Prize that John was talking about. Yes. And so he also seemed to imply that Obama did not deserve this Nobel Prize. But may I remind you, the president that was in there before Obama?
Point of information, it's only 61% of Americans. 61% of Americans didn't believe he deserved it.
What?
Didn't believe he deserved it either.
Deserve the Nobel Prize?
Yeah.
Okay. Since when do normal people decide who gets the Nobel Prize?
Point of information. Who are the Nobel Prize people? What are they? You're scaring me.
Would you think that the Nobel Peace Prize
I
is
think
more
we're asking too
about
many
the
questions.
history of
Yes.
the
Just
world?
let her finish her rebuttal.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, the most.
So, we had the U.S. had a president before who was so adamant about going to war. In fact, he had gone into 2 wars, the Iraq and the Afghanistan war. And then we get a president who, part of fact, it was because he did nothing that he got that Nobel Prize. Because before, we were doing very bad things. We had gone into war in Iraq and we had gone into war in Afghanistan.
Point of
And
information, you were still in the midst of those wars when he received that prize.
It's up to you. Ignore that.
And so when he got in, he said he would stop it. And this was so monumental because we were in the thick of those wars. And maybe it didn't stop at first, but it was that promise that he would stop it, and he did. And I think he definitely deserved that Nobel Prize, and it was definitely not because he was black.
I would like to go back to Hannah's point that people only go to Africa to not help, but instead to look like they're helping.
Yes.
I personally I do not think that is true. My sisters, my friends, everybody's gone on a mission trip to go to Africa and to help the people in need.
Okay.
That is being extremely judgmental of the people who are going to Africa. I do not think that every single person going to Africa to help those ones less fortunate are only going there to look the part. That is extremely judgmental.
Okay.
Point of information. I don't think Cass has got everything that she said because, quote,
Stand up.
a good action with entirely wrong reasons ought to get into a good education system or to get to a good school, and the goods are on capital letter. When really all that isn't necessary, when the deal breaker, in a sense, is an interview. So, Hannah wasn't really saying that going to Africa, people who go to Africa are bad people, right? They came there to help, but usually, in the sense that they weren't doing this out of a goodwill. They're also trying to put that on their resume, which is what we're arguing that people shouldn't be focusing that much.
I do not think that all people, though, are going there to look good on a resume.
We didn't say all though, we said some.
All right, well, that's fair enough. Also, for the, Gabriella, the engagement rings. That is a personal preference. Some people like basic rings, some people like 50-carat rings, or the 12-carat, I don't know. That's a personal preference. I mean, you can't really judge people on their ring. In Greece, on the food, people have a freedom of choice of what they eat. I mean, I know what you're talking about, but it's bad for you. But yet then again, people do have a choice.
I'm not saying that they can't commit suicide.
Stand up again.
Well, my point was basically how much. Well, when people go to fast food restaurant, the one thing that it concerns most is the money, right? Because it's cheaper. Don't tell me any of you really like McDonald's. Please don't.
I'm sure.
You raise your
Excuse me,
hand.
will you please raise your hand if you enjoy the taste of McDonald's? I proved your point wrong.
The ingredients in McDonald's want to make you eat even more. It's not actually real food. You're just made to believe that you want more.
Okay, we'll come back to that in a minute. Just finish your point.
All right, so as I said before, it is a freedom of choice. On the money part, many people can't afford more than McDonald's. Many people, like beggars in the street, they have $1, so they go to the dollar meal.
I mentioned that in my.
Did you?
Yes.
Can you quote it?
Yes. Just for you.
Not everybody actually.
Alright.
Can we leave that for later?
Okay.
Sure. And I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch what you were talking about on anorexia. Anorexia?
Yeah, because girls who are following the models, some of them get obsessed with having a skinny body, and then they go on a very unhealthy diet, which can result in extreme cases, eating disorder, which in more extreme cases can lead to anorexia.
Right, that's a mind disorder.
Yeah.
It's an illness. And I agree that it is from models, but also models inspire people.
I'm not saying that.
Okay, can we just finish?
And that's all I have. My esteemed colleagues talked about quantity versus quality, and they talked about a world based on rationality. But we live in this world, and we live in a world full of humans, both beautiful and ugly aspects. And it's in human nature to be both negative and positive. And we have this, with the quantity versus quality, I believe quality is the best. I would love to live in the world they're talking about, but we do not. That's nice, but that's not how it is. There's a limit issue in this world, a cost issue that places restraints on our abilities or resources. And it's not pragmatic to make everything as quality as they're suggesting. I'm not suggesting that this system is perfect, it's not. But it is the best system that we do have to get everything done, to move our life forward, get jobs, get an education. And that's the point I had.
So, Christina, when you came up here for your first remark,
Okay.
you talked about how Obama deserved it with his promises to end the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and he did, right? He did what he promised, right? That's what you said, that there aren't any more wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. However, the Afghanistan war is still ongoing. What would you have to say about that?
Can we restrict conversations to just the motion? Because I think we're drifting a little bit
All right.
far away from the motion.
My question still stands.
Okay, fine. Are there any other, do you want to answer that, or finish these other refutations?
So would you still say that Obama merited this prize as much as Nelson Mandela did even though his promises, the basis for his receipt of the prize weren't
I
fulfilled.
would.
Okay, maybe afterwards you can do that. If you just go through your, is that the only question?
There's others.
Oh, there are others, okay.
So think about it.
Hello again. I don't know if you want to see me here because a lot of you like Mona and I and a lot of. I'm sorry. But we wanted to talk about rational and irrational because I personally find that the most fascinating. But we didn't have the room to really put in a philosophy section and then cause a lot of you to fall asleep, so probably not. And the argument here is that this house believes society places too much emphasis on appearances. We're not suggesting an idealistic and perfect world, because perfect itself is an imperfection. Agree? And if being irrational means getting a life forward, then there's no point of revolution. There's no point of getting rid of old costumes. There's no point of arguing for human rights. We should just live on the way we are. But what makes us special, individual one of us, and among us with the other creatures on earth, which I have full respect for, is that we think. We think, and I'm here standing. If my brain is dead, and I'm here a corpse, that's not who I am. And the point of thinking is that
Point
you...
of information? When did we say any of those things?
I'm not saying that you said it, I just said it.
Oh,
It's my point. Why would I make my point yours? I'm just suggesting the fact that changing our life into a better system doesn't necessarily mean we're making it unrealistic and too idealistic. We can do this in a pragmatic way, which is not exactly bloodshed or whatsoever, but firstly, we need to pay attention to what matters more, which in this case, essence versus superficial stuff, mind versus body, knowledge versus belief. What you believe in can be wrong, but when you learn or what you choose under specific circumstances to believe can be your own knowledge. And that's when you really own yourself. That's what I'm saying.
Can we make these very brief now?
Yes.
Okay, so we talked about the importance of form, but we also believe, we're not saying that content doesn't matter. We're not talking about being superficial. We're just talking about that appearance is important. It's not everything, but it is important. And that it in some ways, our behavior is, like, it leads to character. It is part of our character. And so that's what I want to say.
Is that the end of the rebuttals? Unless you want to make one more? Okay.
I have a question for Tessa.
Yeah.
Tessa, why did your friends go to Africa?
They went for a mission trip. They actually went to adoption centers, whatever, to care for those kids because they do not have families.
What were their remarks after they came back from Africa?
They said that they do not have anything they couldn't express their grief that they came back. They didn't have any words to describe the amazing experience, and they highly suggest that everybody else went.
Okay, thank you.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. Let's have a round of applause for both teams. Right, so this session will now be our sort of open floor session. We're going to have questions from the audience on any aspect of what you have heard. Okay? So if we can sort of get a questions. We'd like to ask any member from any team.
Are we
Yes.
asking questions about the content?
Indeed, about content of
Okay,
their speeches. Indeed.
John, you, like Tessa said, seem to imply that Barack Obama was only elected based on his race.
He was a great and massive.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that it wasn't a factor, and that is regrettable, because
Yeah.
some people did vote for him based on his race. However, there were other aspects to that. People
Yeah.
voted for him based on the promises that he was making and based on his platform.
See,
and
there's a
his campaign.
misunderstanding, sorry. I didn't say he was only elected because of his race.
You said
What
that
I
it was
seem to
the
have
main
said.
factor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also
There's
ran
big
on.
factors also.
Yeah, he also ran on creating jobs
Yes.
and national health care and ending the war in
I didn't say,
Afghanistan.
but I did say, what I said was that his race was a major factor.
It was a factor.
Yes.
But that's kind of insulting to the American public to imply that most people voted on him because of the color of his
I
skin.
never said most people.
You said it was a major factor.
Yes, major factor does not mean the most important factor. I think my words
Okay, I'm good. No,
Is that all right?
This is for the misunderstanding.
Yes, question back. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. First of all, thank you for both sides. So thank you to both sides for the arguments. My question is similar to the one I asked 2 weeks ago. Is kind of a clarifying one, and I'd like to actually hear from both sides. I don't really know specifically who's going to answer.
We
but-
take one person for each team.
So when the statement society places too much emphasis, how do you understand too much? I mean, what is too much to you?
What is too much? Too much emphasis on appearances. Maybe we can get one person from each team.
The point where emphasis on appearance becomes too much is where it goes against logic and it becomes irrational. That's our definition.
Okay, great.
For our team, it's when it's harmful, and I think that it's part of our nature to be irrational. So I don't think that is a factor in when appearance. What appearance? Yeah, harm too much.
Any other questions? Yes.
So apologies if I think out loud here. It strikes me that to win this debate on this question, you have to establish the extent to which society values appearance, and then argue that we're valuing appearance or kind of above that or below it. Do you know what I mean? So you have to kind of work out what extent society is actually valuing appearance, and then take a measure of where we should be valuing it, and if we should be valuing it more or less. Do you see what I mean? I've not heard anything from the opposition. I think the thing that would clinch it in your favour would be a case where we're not valuing appearance enough. So you've given examples where we are valuing appearance about right, that of body odour, and each side are agreed on that we're valuing appearance about the right level for that. But this team's given arguments where the value of appearance is actually harmful to people, such as with body image models, that sort of thing. But I think to clinch it, I want to hear an argument from you where we're not valuing appearance enough.
Okay, so earlier in the debate, the other side talked about how they had diversity on their team, and because they had, well, I think we did. No?
We can clarify that. Did you say something about diversity?
We
Was there a
didn't
question
mention the
about
cultural
diversity?
diversity of our team.
So the diverse society.
Diverse society. Did that come up in any of the speeches? Okay, so anyway, what was the question that you wanted to formulate?
Okay, so I feel like people really do not value people's backgrounds enough. Like, they may look at somebody, and if they're all white, they may think they're all the same. But, for example, like, we have 3 people here, but one's a Spaniard, one's a Russian, and one's American. But if you just look at them, you may not value that enough, I think.
Right, but wouldn't I then be judging on appearance too much in that case?
Yeah.
No, not yet, no. I'm not sure if Tom looks satisfied with that reply.
I'm not sure I am, but you've answered.
Yes, Andy.
Christina, just clarify, I think you resolved something in your own thinking, but I don't think it occurred to the audience a moment ago about irrationality and harmfulness. Could you just clarify?
Yes, maybe you come here and just come okay. So, irrationality and harmfulness.
So, I think that as people, we are irrational and we do make irrational choices. Like, I don't know, random choices. In our everyday lives, there are irrational choices. And, but like, they aren't always harmful. Like, they can be of no consequence. But I think because our life is made up of those irrational choices, it becomes more full, and we can make mistakes from those irrational choices, but because of those mistakes, we can see where we're going in the future. And I think that we can benefit from those choices.
Right? Yes.
So society, I'm pretty sure everywhere, places a lot of emphasis on getting into a good college. And so I've been raised that I have to be accepted to a good college. Throughout my high school career, I have stressed myself out so much that I have caused physical harm to my body. I have gotten stomach ulcers, and I get like this really bad clenching in my jaw, and I get headaches from it, and it's all because of society telling me that I have to do this to get into a good college. What do you think about that?
Is this the question directed at the...
Yeah.
So she has physical pains, she has because of the... Is that right?
Yeah, I clarify that as harm.
Harm.
To my body.
Because you have to appear to get, you have to hit the right grades, you have to get the
Yeah,
right
I have to do all of that
tick all the
stuff.
boxes.
Yes.
I'm really sorry about that because I do know how it feels, but I'm not sure if it's society telling you that. You said that you were raised. That might be your pressure from your family telling you that you need to get into a good college.
Okay, you want to respond to that?
How many people here feel that way? Honestly, about college, just honestly.
That they're being forced or pressured, under pressure?
Pressured by colleges around you.
Yes.
Yeah, he does.
We all know he definitely does.
A lot of people here feel that way just by your high school, by your parents, by pretty much everybody in society that you have to. That's kind of why we're here. We all are really smart, we're getting into good colleges, we want to go somewhere with our life, but it's also pressuring us a lot.
Okay, so the question of pressure.
The pressure can also be motivation. I understand that, it is really stressful. I totally get it. We're in the same position. But also, I have never felt that TV shows, magazines, celebrities, I have never felt that they're telling me if you do not get into good college, you are worth nothing. I think my parents have told me I need to get into a good college. I mean, if I don't get into a good college, I won't have a good job. I won't be successful. That's my parents telling me that. But I do know what you feel. Thank you.
Okay, very good question, okay. Yes.
I just want to ask Grace over there. She talked about if she become a corpse, then she's not herself. Would you clarify on that?
Yes, the corpse comment, yes. Grace, yes. The Grace, yes, the corpse comment.
So, I don't know if I should just directly answer your question or should we go for the clarification first, because the questions before were directly to your team and we didn't really get a chance.
They could just kind of do whatever they want.
Thank you. And basically, we're not claiming that humans shouldn't be irrational, but it's really bad for you and the people around you and the society that you're in if irrational becomes the normality. And that is when...
What do you... Who said it's bad? Me. Yeah, but it's your opinion. I mean, for example, for me, obstacles is maybe a good thing. For, I don't know...
But I'm not defining irrationality as obstacles.
Okay. Can we just finish the point? Yeah, just finish the point.
So the point I made about my mind is that I personally believe our greatest treasure about us is the
independence of brain and the ability to think as individuals. That is what makes us unique. Every single one of us has a different life, and that's what makes us think differently. And that's why we should keep that and not let society tell us what to do. Because if you don't have a good bachelor degree, if you don't have a so-called good job, what does that matter to you? Just if you're happy. And that's why I claim that I strongly claim that people should restrain their right to be independent.
So what does that have to do with the court? Again?
Because I personally believe if I do not think independently, I don't deserve to be here as an individual. That's just my personal opinion.
Okay, so maybe a reference to walking corpses and zombies there, but yes. So basically, I think the point is that you don't have character. You are
If you don't have character and then you're just behaving like
you just behave.
everyone
It's just behave. Okay. Yes. Sorry. Did you want to say that?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So yes, go ahead.
I actually just had a question for you. I want you to clarify your statement. You said when you marry the guy, it doesn't matter if you plan to spend 20 freaking years with him. Can you let me finish the question? So when you made this statement like this and you said, I will train him anyway, so you do put, it's important for you that in the end he would smell good if you'd make it your goal to train him after you marry him.
Because I never thought that anyone would take this proposition as against your basic hygiene issue. I just honestly find it funny.
Okay, but you didn't answer my question, so you...
Well, your question is basically
Yeah, okay. I'm just saying that you don't...